While the crew has been working this morning, activities have also been taking place down at the Kennedy Space Center. The shuttle carrier aircraft, which is NASA's very large 747 jumbo jet that carries the space shuttle on its back, arrived down there at the shuttle landing facility on the very same runway that Discovery landed on more than a year ago after it wrapped up its final mission, STS-133. There is a live view of the Kennedy Space Center there at the shuttle landing facility. The 747 will spend the next several days getting Discovery secured to it and ready for the flight up to Washington, D.C. Discovery heading up to the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum. It will take off on April 17th, should arrive up in D.C. and be unveiled to the public there on the 19th. We have a chance now to talk to two of the crew members who will be flying that mission. This will be technically Discovery's last flight. We have Jeff Moultrie on the phone, who is the shuttle carrier aircraft pilot who will be flying that particular leg of the flight. We also have Henry Taylor, who is a flight engineer for that particular aircraft. So good morning to both of you, Jeff and Henry. How are you guys doing down there in Florida?
Hey, good morning, Josh. How are you?
Good morning, doing fine.
Doing well. So you guys flew in yesterday straight from Edwards Air Force Base in Dryden. How was the flight over to Florida?
It was a good flight. It was a long flight for us, about, I don't know, a little over about 5.5 hours. So it was a nice flight, nice weather pretty much the whole way.
Could you actually make that flight in one hop? Because typically, you know, if you've got the shuttle in the back, you guys have to stop a couple times because it's not exactly fuel efficient. So could you actually make it in one pass, or did you have to stop somewhere?
No, we made it in one complete flight. We took off at 9:10 in the morning and landed here at 14:35 California time.
So talk about what's next for the plane. I mean, what do you guys have to do over the next couple of days to get it ready and to get Discovery put up on the back of it?
Well, today and the next day or so, technicians at Kennedy Space Center will be installing the balls and pedestals, which is where Discovery aft mounts will be. We'll also be putting fuel on the airplane, doing any other preparations that need to be done, inspections and things like that.
And then once Discovery gets put on there, you guys will be good to go. Is there, you know, talk a little bit about, you know, you guys have flown these types of jets for a while. Kind of talk to the layman about what is it like to actually have a shuttle that big and something on the back of that airplane, and how different is it to take off and land with something that heavy on that 747?
This is Jeff. I think the really the portion of the flight that's quite a bit different is the takeoff portion. We use quite a bit of runway length with the mated FTA. The en route and descent and landing portions are not so different than flying for example, a commercial airliner. But the takeoff, due to the drag factor of the shuttle, the performance is degraded, and so we have to be quite careful with our speeds and in the climb. But once we get in the en route structure, it's pretty much business as normal. It's like a normal jet.
So you guys are going to be doing a flyover of D.C. We've seen the news that, you know, if weather permitting, you'll have a chance to fly over some of the landmarks, over the National Mall, and then head out to the airport. Have you guys ever done anything like that before? Is this sort of the first time you're going to be able to see some of these things from that vantage point?
For me, yes. I think we're doing the flyover first of the Kennedy Space Center, and then we're going up the East Coast to do the D.C. area flyover. Certainly, it's going to be a first for me with a mated FCA, but I have, of course, flown in and out of Washington National before, but never with the shuttle. But it's going to be a pretty historic flight, I think, and with our proximity to some of the monuments and the Capitol building and the White House. So it's going to be a pretty neat day.
Now, Henry, you're the flight engineer, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to be flying a couple of different legs up to D.C. and then on to New York, correct? Talk about what you're going to be doing during those legs.
We're going to have just one leg from KSC to D.C., and then when Discovery is offloaded and Enterprise is loaded, it'll be a different flight from Dulles to New York. We're going to be pretty heavy taking off from KSC, so they're climb out will be slower than we would if we didn't have it. But the weight going from New York to, from Dulles to New York is much lighter, but it's still heavy.
How long have both of you guys been flying this type of aircraft? How long have you been with NASA?
This is Henry. I've been with NASA since 1979, and I started flying on the shuttle carrier aircraft in 1989. I spent 30 years as a flight simulation engineer on the shuttle training aircraft, doing training of all the crews that have ever flown this shuttle. Also fly on the Super Guppy as a flight engineer.
And Jeff?
Jeff, and that was, I was just a kid when Henry started. But I've been with NASA for 11 years, and I've been on the shuttle carrier since I got to Johnson Space Center in 2004. But prior to that, I flew this airplane, type of airplane, commercially, and then before that, many years before that, in the military.
So, is this a bit of a different flight for you guys? Is there different emotions tied to this?
Oh yes, it's unique and special to do it. It's sad that it's the end of the road for the last flight of Discovery. The one that's going to be the most tough for me will be in September with Endeavour, because that will be the complete end of the last flights for the airplane.
So let's talk about the plane itself. This is a NASA 905. This is the original one, right? This is the oldest of the two. We had another one that was NASA 911 that's been decommissioned, correct?
That's correct. 905 was the original SCA. It was used for the approach and landing test when Enterprise was flown off the back. It carried all the orbiters until the first trip that 911 made, which I was on, was carrying an Endeavour from Palmdale to KSC.
That's amazing. That's amazing stuff. So I appreciate you guys joining us today. We'll definitely be watching you on the 17th whenever you guys take off. I think you're due to take off early in the morning, aren't you, from KSC?
7 o'clock is our scheduled time.
All right. Well, listen, you guys, thanks again for joining us. You guys have a safe trip, and again, we'll be watching.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Jeff Moultrie, the shuttle carrier aircraft pilot, and Henry Taylor, who is the flight engineer on board that NASA aircraft that's going to be taking Discovery on its final flight from the Kennedy Space Center, coming up on April 17th up to Washington, D.C., where it will be put on display for everybody to stop by and take a look at this great spacecraft that has served NASA for more than 3 decades.